Good morning, Facebook. Wanted to reach out to you since last week because I keep noticing that there's a significant barrier to how businesses become successful, and I thought to share it with you because we have, although it's myself, Keon, Sonia, the team is there to support. It's going to be really tough to support everyone in this country who requires the assistance. So if you do get to come to one of our complimentary sessions where we teach the whole structure, make sure that you come and do that. But I thought it would be very important for you to realize what you need to put in place in order to have a very successful business. So if this video had a name, it would be how to keep yourself qualified for a successful business. So if it had a name, this particular talk would be about how are you qualified to run a successful business. And please don't go crazy with qualified, thinking that you have to go to school and without that you can't be successful. I think our education system has created the kind of stigma that education is just about cramming and it is hard, and most of our kids, by the time we put them under that pressure, and you must do maths and English, and you must do this, and you must go to 100 different lessons, and if you don't get these grades, you're a failure, and if our fantastic university doesn't accept you by 1%, it's the end of the world. By the time they go through all that, they really hate education. That is why a lot of people, when I talk to them, and especially the ones who are not educated, I've never heard an educated portion say that education is not worth it. That they say that this degree or this master's that I have was a waste of time. I've never heard. And the people who do say things like that are the people who don't have the qualification, and then just pay attention to their results as well. And the qualification doesn't have to be just a degree, because there are a lot of people who do online courses. They go and they learn from actual experts. They get the right advice that they need in order to have the knowledge and then to be able to apply the knowledge. So if you were to look at what is needed for business, and we draw a little bit of a grid, and let's put here, this is low, this is high, high. Now, whenever you're in business, one of the key skills that you really need is the technical skill. So let's say you want to run an accounting office, you need to actually have the skill of accounting. You want to be a mechanic, you actually have to have the skill of being a mechanic. So let's call this side here the technical skill. Now, all businesses are first born out of some technical skill that the owner or the manager or the CEO has, especially if you start from being self-employed and then developing it forward. That is usually how it starts. Even the largest companies, if you think about the Bill Gates, he was a programmer. If you think about Jeff Bezos, he was a marketer, right? So he also wanted to make sure that he could get his, he started off with books and then it ballooned out to all the other products under the sun. But it all started off with a technical skill. Now, I think it's extremely important that you get your technical skill measured. In this country, if you look at the construction industry, for example, the contractors, most of them, this is a generalization, and you can go check it out in your own neighborhood, and go ask the contractors in your neighborhood, how did they get started? And the ones that I have asked have started 20, 30, 40 years ago with a porter under a contractor at the time. And then as they worked for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and they built up some experience, just doing what they were told every day, not necessarily that the contractor sat with them and say, the layout of the steel in this particular column here allows us to get this type of tensile strength, and because we have this tensile strength, we are able to bear this amount of load. That never happened. They tell them, well, tie these 4 bars of steel over here and then go and do the next thing. But what happens is that after 5-10 years, now they graduate, they become semi-skilled and then skilled, And then they now decide, okay, why am I working for this guy? I need to be the contractor. They then start contracting, they get the small job, they get the referral, they continue like that. And then they get some porters working for them again. And the same cycle happens all over again, where 20, 30 years and that portion is now the contractor. And what happens is that none of them actually have the theory of why and how buildings and whatever construction they're involved in is built that way. So therefore we also have a lot of outdated building technology, and it costs the consumer a lot, right? Because in many cases they'll oversize, they'll buy more than is necessary. The amount of wastage that takes place on building sites really bothers me a lot. But it's the technical skill, and if their technical skill is ranked very low, then the results will not be as good. And as soon as someone comes along that has higher technical skills, they'll be in a lot of problems. Now, the other skill, and this is especially, so if you're an employee, I think this is very important. As an employee, you continuously want to move in this direction. And there are many different ways. Go run a course, go sit and talk to an expert, go to a conference. Our team is continuously building their technical skills. We put in, on average, at least 5 to 10 hours for all our people who are busy serving our clients in the technical skill that they need to do so. Today alone, I will be putting in 6 hours in terms of developing my technical skill. And by doing this, when you are the one that has the skills that can deliver the results, more people will be attracted to you. Right? So please understand that, because if you're the one who's struggling with very low skills, there's so many people who could easily replace you and do it much better than you. So that's something that, from the employee perspective, please understand that you need to always work on this side. As a business owner, you have a dual challenge, because you also need to be developing your business skills. And there are some natural entrepreneurs. I myself consider, I consider myself a natural entrepreneur. However, I did a lot of things wrong in the beginning before I actually had the real business skills. I also used to compete on price. I had great ideas, but I was always giving away too much value and not even making the customer understand how much value they're really getting. And that is a very poor business skill. So in the beginning, I was very, very low on business skills as well. Now, as a business owner, self-employed entrepreneur, even a CEO, one of the key things you also have to do is work on the business skills side of the business. Now, so we always want to make that. So every single day we come across businesses, and it's very easy to see when they're in the low business skill side of things because of the decisions they've made and the place they are. Usually, having the money to invest is not there, which means, where have the profits been going, or were there any profits at all? And because if you're barely able to pay the bills, that's a result, right? And that is usually a result of poor business skills. It could also be the economy, but if it is the economy, that might mean that you chose the wrong market. Because if you choose a market where people, don't have the income, don't really need what you do, or there's so many people doing exactly the same thing like you're doing, then that's a poor business decision again. Right? So we come across that a lot. And when you find yourself in that place, and it's good to talk to someone, because there is something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And the Dunning-Kruger effect says that those of us who are the most incompetent usually think we know the most. And this is usually something that has to be diagnosed, because if you are that incompetent, in your brain, you might be thinking that, oh, I'm so fantastic. And easy way, these experiments were done a while ago, they continue to be done. But when they ask people as well, rate yourself on your driving skills, right? I think that statistic came, 60% of them rated themselves in the top 5% of people with driving skills. Right? So people who don't have the skills tend to overestimate themselves. And it happens in all spheres, right? And every single public sector, private sector, happens everywhere. So you may need someone else to objectively test your technical and business skills. And in this particular quadrant, what we end up with is constant frustration. Frustration because there are people out there that can do the job much better than you technically. So if it's mechanic shop, they can diagnose the problem much faster. They can get it repaired much faster. If it's in graphics, they can actually design a graphic that really makes people say wow, and you're still struggling with PicArt or something like ClipArts and all of that. If it is that you're doing, you're an electrician, someone else, when they lay out the wiring in somebody's house, it looks like artwork. When you're running wires, it looks like snakes had a war and this is the survival. This is the aftermath. So very careful with this. What also happens is that because you don't have the level of business skills, maybe it's a good thing, because if you're really good at business skills, you could have actually let people know how bad you are, and that would have killed you even faster. So maybe it's a good thing if you have poor technical skills and you have poor business skills. This kind of means that you might have to reset, go get into employment that's at the right level for you, and then make a decision to grow yourself or to stay where you are. Be content with where you are and don't complain then, because the only person who could have made a change would have been you. Next, we have people who have very high technical skills. Right? They're really, really good at what they do, but they have very poor business skills.